Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast, and of course the big news this last week was the snowstorm that occurred earlier in the week. Pretty much followed exactly how the models indicated in terms of the storm track, but with the colder air pushing farther into western Nebraska, the moisture that was lifted over top of that cold air was able to generate snowfall all the way up into northern Nebraska. So with that cold air, it didn't take much moisture to generate a few inches of snow, but the area south of Interstate 80 was the big winners in terms of snowfall. Common 4 to 6 inch totals were reported, the heaviest totals right along the Kansas border, and then most of that from south central to southeast Nebraska. As you got down into Kansas, of course, we've seen totals approaching the 1 foot mark in central Kansas, and we had the high winds, of course, drifting it with that light snow. It moved around a lot, so wheat fields, as I was down giving a talk in Beloit, were pretty much bare because all the snow was blown off. There was nothing to hold it there. Now, we do see some temperature rebound over this next week, and in the long term, it does look like a warming trend will finally materialize as we get past the Valentine's Day period. And whether or not that lasts for a long time, we'll wait to see, but it does look like at least we may break this bitter Arctic air for a temporary reprieve as we get into the second half of the month. So let's take a look at the main models and see what we can expect as we go through this next 7-day period. And the first thing I'll draw your attention to is we still have a northwesterly flow. Not as cold of air as we've seen earlier this week, but we do have a system that's moving through the Dakotas and Iowa today. Might generate some accumulating snowfalls across northeast Nebraska. We're probably looking at 1 to 2 inches at the max, and a little bit of snow in the southwest and the panhandle as some of the moisture that's coming into California rides over the Rockies and generates a little bit of light snowfall. More importantly, we're seeing a significant surge of moisture into the western Rockies, and we are looking at 2 to 5 foot totals of snowfall in California, so this is good news for them in regards to their drought, but it's going to take successfully more in the way of storm systems to basically undo the damage of the last couple of years. Now, as we go into tomorrow, we're going to start to see that trough lifting out, so we still see a little bit of a reprieve in temperatures. Still chances of flurries across the northwestern panhandle and possibly into northeastern Nebraska, but overall we're not expecting any significant accumulations. Now, as we go into Monday, we'll start to see some of that warmer air trying to build in, so a gradual warm up. Again, the best chances for snowfall may be across the panhandle and across northeast, but even here it just looks like a few flurries at the most. Now, as we go into Tuesday, we'll really start to see the warm air bubbling in, and we may see temperatures making it up into the 40s, easily into the southwest, and it should be a fairly nice day. On Wednesday, should be some of the warmest temperatures of the week as we look at temperatures possibly approaching 50 in the southwest, 40s in southern Nebraska, and we'll be looking at mid-30s in northern Nebraska. But you'll see that trough starts to dig in, so we have an increased chance of snow, particularly the western half of the state as we get to Thursday, and we may have to pay attention. There may be some significant accumulations, and as we get into Friday, all of that energy passes to our east, and we start to see that ridge building in, indicating warmer air into our region. So if we look at the main temperature forecast, we are looking at very cold temperatures across the northeast, a warming trend as we go through the middle of the week, and then another cold shot as we get into next Friday. And in terms of the 8 to 14 day forecast, shifts the cold air out to our east, that's from next Thursday through the following Tuesday, warm air to our west, and in terms of precipitation, most of it stays to our north.